Hey y'all, welcome to our project lecture. Today, Rachel and I will be going over the ins and outs of how the rest of the semester is going to work and share with you guys some important information. So to start with some announcements. First and foremost, we have project kickoff in person Monday, February 13th at 6 p.m. While we're still determining the location, we want you all ready to come in person so you can meet your groups and your project managers. We will have an online option over Discord and Zoom available by request if you're unavailable on the day though. We also have our project matching form, which is due February 9th. Please fill this out by the 9th to ensure that you can be placed in a group with other students who are interested in similar topics as you. We also have our project idea homework, which is due on February 12th. This is different from the project matching form, as that will help you get placed into a group, but this is basically a form that will help you flesh out some of the ideas you may already have. As a reminder, we will have some of these on PrairieLearn just as a way to reinforce that and give you guys an easy access for links, but we will also be linking these in our website so you can follow along on the slides as we go. Last but not least, we also have our Google Calendar that y'all can follow to stay up to date on any news and announcements that Rachel and I may have for the course.
So this is what we'll be going over in today's video. So we'll first dive into some popular project categories, such as web dev, mobile dev, game dev, and data science. And then we'll also go into what a tech stack is and how you'll be choosing that, as well as what the project matching form is. And then we'll go into some past projects that students have done so you guys can get some inspiration for your own projects. And then we'll also go over how to come up with a project idea, as well as what the project weekly workflow will look like.
So to get into some of the project categories, first and foremost, we have web development. As you can expect, this is based around building, creating, and maintaining websites through web design, web publishing, web programming, and even database management. Web dev is usually split between front-end development and back-end development, where front-end is the client side and back-end is the server side.
Another category is mobile development, and so this is focusing on non-web mobile applications. There are two categories for this. So one is the native apps, which are just written in the programming language and frameworks that are provided by the platform owner and that run directly on the operating system of the device. So for example, iOS and Android are two of these. And then the other category is cross-platform apps, and cross-platform mobile apps can be written in a variety of different programming languages and frameworks, but they are compiled into a native application that runs directly on the operating system.
Next up, we have game development. As you can probably expect, this is based on creating games through design, development, and release. We do highly recommend that you use game engines, as this makes the process overall a lot easier and helps you dive into what makes your game unique faster.
And lastly, we have data science. So it's where you extract data or value from data. And so there are two main categories. So the first one is machine learning or deep learning. And machine learning is defined as the practice of applying algorithms to data in order to learn, infer, or otherwise understand the data. And deep learning is where you use a specific subset of algorithms that work well on complex problems with lots of data. And the second category is data analytics, which is just summarizing the data in a meaningful and descriptive way.
So now to get into the tech stack. A tech stack is a combination of tools, applications, and services used to build your project. In the document linked here, we outline some of the common tools used in the course, split up by interest pods. As a reminder, this is just a starting point, and we do recommend you do additional research on your own. Furthermore, we do want to emphasize that you are not at all constrained by what we have listed here, and we encourage you to use any tools or applications as you see fit.
And now for our project matching form, make sure you fill this out by February 9th. This is very, very important as we'll be using it to match you with a group. And so because we're matching you based on what you're interested in, make sure you're listing like which categories you want to work with more and which categories you're not quite as interested in.
So now to get into some of the project inspiration. First and foremost, we have our Hall of Fame. This is where we immortalize the best student projects, and we update this every single semester. If your group's projects impress Rachel, myself, the rest of course staff, and your peers, we would be more than happy to have you on the Hall of Fame immortalized for semesters to come.
And so for an example of some past web projects, we have a health tracking app as well as a food social media.
For some great examples of mobile applications, we have this recycling app and a borrowing lending app as well.
And for games, there was a 2D level-based game as well as a coin collector game.
For our final interest pod, data science, we have climate change data visualization projects and a movie recommendation engine based on emotions in audio recordings.
We also have projects that touched on a couple of different categories. So for this one, there was a music app for senior citizens suffering from dementia, and another example is an ASL learning game.
So now to get into the project idea form. To start with the first two sections, we want you to just give us a few sentences in section 1 explaining exactly what your project is aiming to do. A brief summary will suffice, and we're not looking for something super in-depth, just a few sentences to get your ideas out. For the second section, we want to understand what problem your project is actually solving. If your project idea is something like game development that is not necessarily solving a problem per se, we would love to hear about exactly what makes your project unique and why it's something that is worth developing, what exactly it brings to the table.
And so for the third section, the features, we want you to sort of dive deeper into your project idea and list out the specific features that you want to include. So this could be things that you want your program to be able to do or what you want the user to be able to do. And for the last section, the tech stack, this is optional, so you don't have to fill it out if you're not super sure what you want to work with just yet. But if you have an idea of some technologies that you want to work with, you can list those out here. And don't worry if you're not sure like what exactly you're going to work with, because the PMs will be helping you decide on the tech stack.
So now to move into a little bit of what the weekly workflow is going to look like. We follow an Agile framework and split stuff up between Scrum and Kanban boards.
So for Scrum, we will be splitting the project up into weekly sprints. So every week you'll be meeting with your project group and your project managers. And so you'll go through the entire project cycle. And by the end of it, you will have the completed project at the end of the semester.
For the Kanban boards, while these are not required, they are a pretty useful tool on GitHub that can help you and your project managers visualize what tasks are yet to be done, which are in progress, and which are completed.
And now moving on to GitHub. So this is the basic overview of what a GitHub structure is going to look like. Your PMs will explain more in detail what each of these is for specifically, but for just like a general idea, the docs folder is for any documents that you might have. The project folder is for all of your project code. And then the research folder is for any tutorials or research that you guys do.
So just as a quick recap, we did throw a lot of information at y'all, but just to go over it, we went over some popular project categories, some project inspiration through past projects and the Hall of Fame, how to come up with a project idea through our form, and lastly, the project weekly workflow. As always, if y'all have any questions, please feel free to reach out to myself or Rachel over email or Discord, and we can't wait to see what projects y'all come up with.
Thank you.